What's up and welcome back to the YaBoiWilly YouTube channel. Today we are going to be going over all of the companies returning and forming for New World Season 10. Now, in case you guys have been living under a rock, New World Season 10 is coming in very soon, and with Season 10 actually comes a lot of hype. A lot of players are very excited for this season due to the fact that it's bringing a lot of in-game content changes rather than what they've done in the past when it comes to bug fixing and bringing New World to console. So now we are seeing a lot of companies and players make a return, and with about 15 companies on the horizon that I know of, it's kind of a big deal. Yapping aside, let's go ahead and get into it. I will say I will be trying to give you guys my best rundown of each company. I do remember a lot of things about some companies and I remember a little bit about others. I like to look at myself as like a New World thesaurus, so I'll be giving you guys my best. If I get some information wrong, please feel free to comment down below and correct me. I will not take it as like, oh yeah, I hate this guy. Again, we are a community. I'm doing this for the community so you guys can kind of get an idea of who is coming back to this game. So let's jump into it. Let's go. All right, let's go ahead and get into some yapping. So first off, let's talk about the returning established companies. Now, we do have about 15 companies overall that are going to be coming back and or returning, but we are going to be getting into the established ones first. And before we get into it, what does established mean? Well, it means that these companies have been around in the past. They have a little history. They got some skin in the game, or at least known in the war community to some degree. I also want to point out, you're going to see it's a little color coded. So yellow is people who are obviously going yellow, green is green, and red is going to be kind of like the unknown, right? Like nothing is 100% set in stone yet. Again, at least to my knowledge, I've been asking for a week straight for as much information as I can get. So I'm trying to give it to you guys here, but let's go ahead and jump into it. First off, we're going to be talking about Merc Guards. They're going to be yellow on Hudson Land. Now, if you guys want a little quick rundown about Merc Guards is an older company that admittedly they never really got their foot in the war game. They were never that crazy. Like they didn't hit those high peaks that a lot of companies did. I would say their highest peak was probably low mid tier, and it didn't really last long if it was there. Maybe even high low tier. And I know that sounds silly to some, but to be honest, that's great. We need companies like this. And the thing I like about Merc Guards is these guys are a company that is community based, and they're okay with getting new players into the game. So if you guys are wanting to learn wars or a new player, Merc Guards is not a bad option. These guys are a solid community and they tend to be very consistent whenever they are active. So yeah, I believe Bob Ross is leading it over there. So shout out to the homies. Yeah, Merc Guards, again, not super competitive, but solid community. And it's something I've always appreciated about them. Next, we're going to be getting into Maximum Cap. Now, they're yellow on Valhalla, and Willy is actually currently in this company. Maximum Cap is pretty much a company that is made up of old Captivity members and Maximum Effort members. So I don't want to get this wrong. I believe Captivity was an old yellow company that, to be honest with you, I don't think they ever really was too crazy. However, Maximum Effort, if I recall, they fought on Marama, and I think they were, I want to say they were purple. I want to say they were Syndicate, but Maximum Effort actually had some solid wars. There's some good players here, and it is being led by Puzzled right now. Shout out to Puzzled. Again, Willy's in this company. I got a lot of homies over here. There's a lot of great people, and I want to preface Maximum Cap, I'm sure they might need players. I want to point out, I will put a link to my Discord below, but I should be having like all of their Discords and stuff like that information to get into these companies. If you guys are looking for an active war company, I'm sure a lot of these companies need you. So join that Discord. I do have a recruitment section there because I know there's a lot of people that want to get into wars. This is a great time to. There's a lot of companies returning and they're going to need players, but that's Maximum Cap. I think the highest, that we've ever seen Maximum Effort reach, again, I could be wrong. I want to say maybe like mid tier. I don't know if they ever got to like the high tier, the AB category. I want to say it was probably more along the C side, but again, it's been a second. Now, that's Max Cap. Let's go ahead and get into technical. Technical coming back is actually kind of massive. So if you guys don't remember, I've been casting Technical forever. Technical is an extremely OG company that has been around for a long time. I mean, they used to have Technical Ice, Fire. They had the whole Element Nation out there at one point, all the way back in Valhalla, back whenever, you know, it was like Pluto, Valhalla, Castle of Ice, Marama, that, you know, that kind of time. Technical started kind of sprouting up on Val. They went to Castle of Steel a little bit, you know, stuff like that. So Technical coming back is kind of huge. It's massive. They're going to be yellow on Valhalla, and again, they're trying to fight the big guys. I know that Technical is trying to fight those dudes. I believe Coca is leading the charge. Again, if you guys, I mean, if you're in the war scene, you're going to know who Coca is. Been around forever. So Technical is definitely someone to look out for the high tier war scene. And speaking of high tier war scene, we got Bark for Hills, which is going to be green on Valhalla. So already you're starting to see Valhalla is more than likely going to be that like high tier server, right? Valhalla more than likely will be the high tier server for a lot of the big boys to go crazy on. And I say that because if you guys don't remember, Bark for Hills has been around for a while. I want to say Bark for Hills actually spawned and started on the first Fresh Start servers. I want to say that's when I started catching these guys. And Bark for Hills, again, has been in that high tier category for wars, right? These guys are, you know, they got a lot of war gooners over there, a lot of great players. So I am expecting Bark for Hills to kind of do some big things here. And I think the community is as well. So shout out Bark for Hills. Now we have Cosmic Scales. They're going to be in Pangea. Cosmic Scales is a company that I say is returning, but I mean, I feel like they always return, right? Being led, I'm assuming, by Apples out there. Again, I'm getting a lot of this information from the community. Not all of this is, you know, 100% direct. But yeah, I mean, again, Cosmic Scales staple in the scene. They have had, you know, they relatively hover between high tier. Sometimes on slumps they can go to mid tier, but to be honest, most of the time, if Cosmic starts getting to mid tier, they just don't even war, or they go to like kind of like another company, or they just kind of like do something else in the meantime. But when Cosmic is in peak form, they are, I would say, definitely towards that high-ish tier, high mid tier, low high tier. You know, they're in the mix. You know, they definitely can hang. So Cosmic, they're going to be war gooners. A lot of these guys, I don't know if they're recruiting, but a lot of these guys are going to be war players. These guys know what they're doing, and a lot of them hasn't really quit. I know that there's a lot of Cosmic players that are still playing like currently, so it's cool to see them coming back to like form, right? So now let's go ahead and get into Interstellar. Interstellar, again, we don't really know much about Interstellar. I believe my boy Hunch is leading it over there, or Hutch, my bad. It's one of the or. I'm sorry, there's a lot of people I know. It might be Hutch. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Hutch, but yeah, I believe it's Hutch. Interstellar, in the past, these guys have been high tier. These guys have been high tier. Interstellar is not a company that necessarily has been around for a long time. Even whenever they did have their run, it wasn't like a very, very long one. They were, you know, very short burst of, you know, highs. But the people that were there, whenever Interstellar was cooking, they were doing a good job at it. So I'm expecting this to be kind of more like a high-ish tier war company. And if they can get off their feet, they definitely could be a force to be reckoned with. So next we have pre/post Dedo. If you guys remember these guys, they formed on Lilith back whenever we had the Lilith project cooking. It was going crazy. They're probably going to be on the new server, if not maybe Hudson Land. And shout out to the Dedo boys. Willie is actually in this company as well. So I would join these guys. They have the best propaganda department in the game. African War out there. Dude, these guys are doing their thing, right? I love the propa, and not only the propa, but a lot of good dudes, good players. I would say pre and post, whenever pre and post Dedo, I would say they hovered more towards like the mid tier, never really going too crazy in like the high tier, but they had a lot of banger mid tier wars. If you remember back in Lilith, you know, it's a while ago now, but when Lilith was pretty dang competitive, there was a lot of great mid tier battles that these guys had, and even after Lilith, they did make another return once more, and they did have some good mid tier wars. So again, I joined these guys. I'm hoping it goes well. Shout out to them and all the homies there. They are dope. So let's go ahead and talk about Pre-Med. Pre-Med's coming back. I believe they're going to be on the new server, if not Hudson Land. I think that's what I've heard for Pre-Med right now. Pre-Med was, I want to say they came out with New World Eternum. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory is telling me Pre-Med was cooking on New World Eternum, and they were Premeditate, and it took them a second to kind of get the ball rolling. But once they did, they were actually a pretty good force to be reckoned with. I would say, again, probably hovering around that mid-tier company. I believe they used to be Marauders. Again, I don't know what they're going this time around, but mid-tier company coming in here is great. It's good for the game. We need more companies like that. Right now in New World, we only have like high-tier companies and high alt-tier companies. There's really no middle ground of low and like mid-tier anymore. So I'm really excited to see Pre-Med kind of back in the mix. I hope these guys get cooking. Shout out to the boys over there. So now we have Musket Union. I know some of you guys are going to be like, Willie, why is Musket Union on this list? They are not a war company. True. Musket Union is not a war company. However, Musket Union has definitely had a lot of effects on the wars. If you guys remember the past, Musket Union is a force to be reckoned with. If you guys thought PK Nation was bad, you guys have not dealt with the Musket Union. These were pretty much these guys were the first guys to do it when it comes to just, absolutely going crazy in open world, absolutely blocking decks, just being nuts. Like Musket Union is known for that. Now, are they going to do all that stuff again? I'm not sure. I doubt it. I mean, but it is kind of their staple, so I don't know. I believe my boy Silver Chase is running it over there. Got nothing but love for him. Great guy. Yeah, so Musket Union out here letting the world know. So now we have Stimmies. I don't know a lot about Stimmies. I've heard that they're coming back, but I don't know a lot about them. Stimmies, if I'm not mistaken, used to be a Marauder company, and at their highest high, I think Stimmy was kind of like around that mid tier. For me, I get a lot of like pre-med vibes with Stimmies. Like I feel like they were kind of in that same kind of like level, kind of just mid-tierish floating around, and not bad. Again, when I say mid-tier, this isn't like a derogatory thing. It's not a bad thing. It's good. Mid-tier is like where all the fun is, let's be honest. So I hope Stimmies can come back and cook it up a little bit. Again, don't know a lot about what they're cooking right now. So next we have Handsome Blokes, and again, another banger comeback for the high-tier war scene. If you guys don't remember Handsome Blokes, long history with this company, and it's a legendary company. I mean, it's a pretty big deal for a lot of people in the war scene. It's very cool. Handsome Blokes is, back in the day, we used to catch, first off, they're a very high tier company, but back in the day, I used to catch them, I believe the first time I caught them was on Castle of Steel, whenever you had like Pluto, Ahono, Castle of Steel going, that kind of era. Blokes was out there fighting the likes of Just Business, things like that. So very cool, gonna be seeing them kind of come around again. They've had a lot of comebacks. Shout out to Ashy and the gang. Ashy, one of the most legendary shot callers, leads this company, and also just a great person in the community. Always good vibes, things like that. So Handsome Blokes coming back is huge. I do expect them to kind of be towards that relatively high tier. I'm assuming that there will be a good amount of war players that are going to be signing up for this company, right? I mean, it would be cool to war for Handsome Blokes. I think a lot of people feel that way. They were always known as like the scrappy underdogs that could actually take on like the big war gooners, but full of kind of just, homies and chill bros. At least that was always the vibe. So shout out to Handsome Blokes. But this is going to be tying up the returning established companies. Now we are going to be getting into some of the companies that will be forming. All right, let's go ahead and get into the newly formed companies. First off, let's start it out with Buffalo Wild Wings, aka B-Dubs. Now, I believe Jungle John is leading this one. Shout out to the homie. He's a big homie of the chat. Just an awesome guy all around. They're going to be yellow on Valhalla. They're a new company formed of some war players, but actively recruiting and training up newer players. So this is a company where they have, war players in like the leadership and in like power positions, and they will be actively recruiting new players. So shout out again, these kind of companies. If you guys are new, wanting to get into the war scene, look for a company like this. And again, in my Discord, you guys will find all this information, link in the bio, description, all that good stuff. But yeah, shout out to the Buffalo Wild Wing homies out there. Now, next we're going to be getting into Scrandy. They're going to be Purple Hudson Land. Scrandy leadership is going to be taking over the Hot Take company. That's what I've been been told. Now, I know that you're putting them here on like the newly formed companies is kind of weird. I didn't really know where to put Scrandy, so I just kind of put them over here for now. Scrandy has had somewhat of a history. They haven't really, it's weird because Scrandy as like Scrandy has peaked at like, you know, highish low tier. They've never really even been mid tier. However, you know, whenever they ended up getting more players from kind of other companies and Scrandy kind of like formed into a different version of Scrandy, they did see higher heights. Now with them taking over Hot Take is an active company right now on Hudson Land who's been warring Oppo-Bon a lot, and they've been pretty competitive. So I'm expecting this company to kind of be like mid tier, and if they're getting Scrandy leadership, then maybe we see it get a little more competitive. So we'll keep an eye on these guys. Next we have Lion with Aura. I believe my boy Big Mac is leading this one, I'm pretty sure. So this is a new company formed with leadership of Chicken Man. So if you guys don't know, Chicken Man's is a company back in the Lilith days. They were Syndicate, and dude, these guys were crazy. They kind of came out of nowhere and really started taking on the highest tier competition on the server. And yeah, they have a lot of history. The Chicken Mans have a lot of history in the war scene. So I'm expecting this to kind of be one of those newer companies that's coming in, but probably going to be you know, like if this company's recruiting you, it's probably going to be more of like a high tier / high mid tier recruitments probably from these guys. Again, I don't know, maybe they're looking for new players as well, but that I would say that is kind of my like off the rip expectations of this company. Next we have Genetic Diff, and I want to say Waves is leading this one. They're a new company formed of mostly conflict players. I put question marks because that's just what I heard. I don't want to just like blatantly say that. I think that is I think that's good information. I want to say it is. Shout out to my boy Palms. Yeah, hey, that's my mod. That's my homie. He's going to be in there too. And I do actually know a lot of people in Genetic Diff. I'm assuming that this is going to be a very solid mid-tier to high mid-tier company. That's my assumptions, just like, you know, based off of vibes, you know, just based off of vibes. So yeah, Genetic Diff out here. Yeah, these are the newly formed companies. I'm excited for it, dude. The war scene is going to be lit. Yeah, guys, so as you guys can see, a lot of hype in the war scene right now. A lot of companies coming back of different skill levels all around. You have high tier, low tier, mid tier. But at the end of the day, it's just awesome to see so many people coming back. It feels like New World is kind of coming to form and hopefully going to be put in the right direction. The devs seem to be a lot more engaged with the community. Even I, as a creator, I feel like the devs are talking to me more than ever. I feel like I'm actually active with the community, more active with the people behind the game more that I've been streaming and playing for 4 years. So I'm excited, and all the returning people, you can see that they're excited as well. So guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Again, if I got anything wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comments. I'm not going to be offended. This is for the community. I'm just trying my best to kind of get this information out there because New World Season 10 is coming out very soon, and I want to try and help the war community, the war homies, anybody trying to get into wars. I want to kind of give them a central place, kind of know what to look out for. So guys, I'm getting out of here. Peace, later, love. I will see you guys in the next video.